In 1970, Greenwich Village resident James Wilkerson went on a vacation down to St. Kitts with his wife. And when they came back, they were planning on selling their beautiful 1845 townhouse here on 11th Street. While they were away, Wilkerson had reluctantly allowed his estranged daughter, Kathy, to stay in the house while she was recovering from the flu. But all was not what it seemed. And by the time he returned, his house was a pile of rubble, 3 people had died, and his daughter was a fugitive from the law. Kathy Wilkerson, as it turned out, had joined the Weather Underground, also known as the Weathermen, a radical left-wing group dedicated to ending the Vietnam War and fighting institutionalized racism in the US. And they were ready to use violent means to do it. They had begun producing bombs and setting them off in government, military, police, and other targets. Terry Robbins, who was also Wilkerson's boyfriend, wanted to ramp things up and bomb an NCO dance in Fort Dix in New Jersey. Wilkerson and her co-conspirators started using the basement to make bombs. Now they were intellectuals, ideologues, but not engineers, and that inexperience proved to be fatal. On the morning of March 6, 1970, a huge explosion ripped through the townhouse, instantly killing Robbins and 2 other weathermen, Ted Gold and Diana Oughton. Kathy Wilkerson and Kathy Boudin were upstairs and survived. They had been cleaning the house for Wilkerson's father's return that night. In the aftermath, the immediate assumption was that it was a gas explosion. Certainly no one suspected it had been a bomb-making factory in the basement, but the size of the explosion tipped the police off that something more had been going on here. They would eventually find enough explosive materials in the basement to blow up the entire block. The 2 Kathys had initially been found dazed outside the destroyed building. A neighbor helped them inside her place and let them shower and change. Quietly, the 2 then slipped away. They would become fugitives for the next 10 years. Wilkerson would surrender herself to law enforcement in 1980. Boudin would eventually be arrested in 1981 after being involved in the deadly robbery of an armored car. As you can imagine, the destruction of this townhouse was a shocking event for this quiet neighborhood. One of the adjacent neighbors happened to be actor Dustin Hoffman. He and his family were okay, but their apartment was not. A second explosion ended up blowing a hole in the wall of his building and caused his desk to fall into the rubble. He carried his paintings out of the apartment and watched the commotion from the sidewalk. In the following days, he and his wife were allowed to sift through the rubble, and she found a coat she thought was hers until she found a map of the tunnels beneath Columbia University in a pocket. It had been an alternate target. James Wilkerson sold the property and moved to England. When she came out of hiding after 10 years, his daughter apologized to him for what had happened, but he said it was water under the bridge. Now the building was too damaged to salvage, and so eventually it was replaced by this, a townhouse with a twist. Now there's no plaque or any kind of other recognition of what happened here, but if you want to see it for yourself, walk down 11th Street and you can't miss this building.